Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. This is going to be the first in a series of videos that I'm doing for the Nintendo Switch event that happened a couple days back. Both events, now that I've actually gotten to see the New York event as well, since I actually didn't get the chance to film this video when I planned initially. I was able to get through the New York event, so there's actually a ton of extra amazing information actually that they didn't show off in the Tokyo event. But this video is really going to focus mostly on the actual console itself. I'll kind of rattle off some of the games that got some actual focus and get my initial impressions of them when they first showed up on stage, or when when we first got to see the trailers. But I'll be doing individual videos for the games that have me most interested, or at least the ones that got the most focus, whether it was in the first event or the New York event. But just to start things off, third month of the year, we're I kept hearing that I think it's only it's 68 days or something really crazy. It's yep, this is the exact day it comes out. So third month of the year, third day of the month, $300 price tag. Personally, I think that's a pretty good price. The Wii U came out at, I believe, around the same price. I know the original Wii came out at $250. So for this to only be $50 more, and it's 2 generations later, I think that's fine. I think it's really good for the technology that we're getting for it. We have, the HD Rumble stuff, which admittedly from a tech side of things, I thought that was pretty cool. It's super Nintendo gimmicky style, so we have to wait and see how it's really utilized. But for now, I'm I still like it. It was, ice cubes and crap. It was super gimmicky, but it's that actually seems really cool to me for some reason. So I actually like that. The portable side of the Switch, when you take it out of the dock, it has, unfortunately this varies by game, but it's from 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours. The more intensive games are going to take it down to the more 2.5, 3 hour range. They explain that Legend of Zelda is supposed to be, at least at 3 hours, so you can kind of guess which games are going to be 6 hours, or 6.5, and which are going to be 2.5. Like Skyrim, probably the same as Legend of Zelda, 2.5, 3 hours. Nintendo, or not Nintendo Switch, but 1-2 Switch, probably gonna last the whole 6.5 hours. There's not much there. It's oh, here's some little images, a couple of videos are in that game, and that's it. So for the most part, it's not really intensive on the actual screen itself. So that type of game, I'm sure, will range closer to the 6.5 style. But I still think that's good. Of course, it comes with an AC adapter, so that's not too big of a deal. I have I did 3 pages of notes while going through, combining both conferences. I got 3 pages of notes, but to go through what comes with the actual system, because they did a pseudo unboxing at the New York event. It comes with, of course, the console, the 2 Joy-Cons, plus 2 straps, which I actually thought was cool. It's very minute, but considering the straps actually attach to the controllers, I think it's good that they actually come with it, because at first it was when they first showed them off, I was why do they have to actually attach to the controller? Why can't they just be little strings or something like the Wiimotes? And I was okay, it makes sense. For those of you who may not have seen it, when you attach the straps, it actually adds basically bigger shoulder buttons. So the controller is I don't know, a couple of centimeters bigger, so it's not as tiny in your hands, but it's a little bit bigger, and it adds a bit more flexibility as far as the shoulder buttons. They're a little bit easier to press. So I was alright, that actually adds a level of usefulness to the strap. So I thought that was pretty cool. But both controllers, 2 straps, which I have on here, which add space for the shoulder buttons. The Joy-Con grip, which is the actual whole base that the controllers go on. An HDMI cable, and the AC adapter. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's kind of typical stuff, except for the fact that it does come with technically 2 controllers, so that is pretty cool. Of course, they have the all gray version of the console, and then the other version has 1 neon blue, 1 neon red Joy-Con controller. I'm not sure which one I'm going to get out of those. I'm probably going to end up just going for the grayscale option, just because it all matches. And as much as I love the blue, I think they're great colors, the neon blue and neon red. They look really sweet. They just don't match with the rest of the console. They didn't do anything else. It was yeah, the controllers are beautiful and vibrant. The rest of the console was still just flat, black, and gray. And I'm if maybe the thing was different, or at least the, not the charging dock with the actual portable slab, but the initial dock. If they had added some color to that or something, or maybe were darker colors for the controllers, maybe it would match better, but I'm just like, man, you got this super bright blue on one side, super bright red, and then in the middle is just basically the mini advertisement that constantly tells you what console you're playing because it says Nintendo Switch in the middle. But one thing that I was curious about is whether or not the color Joy-Con version is going to be more space, or if they aren't even going to bother doing that. It's just like, hey, both versions of the console have the exact same amount of space. It's just a different color. So we'll have to wait and see if they decide to do that. But considering they had, the Tokyo event as well as the New York event, they didn't mention that at all. Like, this version comes with more space than this version. So I don't think that's going to be the case based on the two events. But right now, those are the options. Of course, with them putting that out as a part of just selling the console alone, we know there are going to be 100 million variations on these controllers when Legend of Zelda comes out, Mario comes out, probably third-party versions as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how all that plays out in the future. But for now, it's fairly simple. We're going to be getting online services that are for a fee. Personally, I always hated that when you have to pay for online when a company doesn't do it. But at the same time, Nintendo has always been like super far behind, so I'm still not a huge fan of it because they've done it free before. Honestly, as little as they've had for the Wii U, where it's like you couldn't even talk to people, I didn't care. I was like, I'm playing online for free. I don't really need to talk to people because typically, if you're playing online a lot, you know what you're going to hear. So outside of playing with friends, I'm not that concerned about voice chat and stuff, but we'll see what they do. It should be entertaining. So that is going to come out with a trial when the console first comes out. So I'm assuming that's like, hey, let's have everybody test the online services and see what they say. And then once they kind of, hammer down what they want to really do with it, then we'll see exactly how much this is going to cost and stuff like that. So as much as I'm not a fan of it, because I always hate when the console, just like with Sony when they went from PS3 to PS4, it's like, man, you can play online for free, and they had everything. It was, you could be online for free, and you could do voice chat and all that stuff, and now you have to pay to be online with PS4, so that's where they're headed. I'm never a fan of that, but if it means we get some really good stuff, then of course, there's going to have to be a trade-off. So that's something that we're getting. One of the best things, there's no region locking. That is a huge deal in gaming at this point. I think it's a bigger thing in, this generation, and I guess technically the Switch is the new generation, but, this generation and the last generation, region locking has been like one of the biggest things because people buy Japanese games, a lot of gamers are into anime a lot more, so it's like, well, I want to get this game, but it's not sold in America, but it's for like one of my favorite anime. So now we have no region locking on a Nintendo console. That's great. Nintendo is probably one of the most notorious companies for having exclusive games that are not sold, which is how we ended up with Xenoblade finally coming to the States. So they're probably the biggest contributor to games only being sold in Japan, that sort of thing. So that's great. That was really great to hear. Sony recently did that with, they actually had it on the PS3, but it's always great to hear that when there's no region locking. You can just be like, all right, I want this from Japan, I want this from Europe, wherever you want it, you can play it on your console. So that was really great. The kickstand mode, that's a simple little thing. It's just a little kickstand. But in the New York press conference, they mentioned that the kickstand is actually where they have the micro SD card. And they didn't show too much of the games. They still haven't gone too far into details as far as how the games look. They showed it off. They are just little cartridges, basically like the DS games. I don't know how they look currently, but like when they first came out, they were just, squares. That's how they look. That's how they are for the console, so that's really cool. They showed like, it was a micro SD card. It was like a 256 gigabyte micro SD card in the game, or in the console. So I don't know if that's the actual size that we're getting. I don't think it is, of course. That's just what they were showing off, like, hey, you can do this if you want to, but I'm pretty sure it's like a 30 gigabyte thing. That's what we get with the normal space. So still 30 gigs, nothing like too fancy, but you can expand it if you want. It's very simple. It's hidden under the kickstand, so it's just a little simple piece of design. The tablets, the actual tablet that you can take on the go to play games, you can link up to 8 at a time, which is absolutely insane to me. So at some point in the future, maybe next year, we're gonna have a game that's up to 16 players. Because if you can put 8 together, there's something with that. Who knows if we're getting a new Smash Brothers on this console? But that does make it a little easier if you got like 3 or 4 friends who all have a Switch, and it's like, all right, well, there's 8 of us playing. We could just do 2 per screen. That's what we did if you happen to be out on the go. So I thought that was really cool when they mentioned that. Of course, the analog buttons can be pressed down. That's just a simple thing to have, but I put it in there. The right Joy-Con has a home button. It has the Amiibo reader, and it also has the IR camera, which can not only sense distance, but it can sense shape. So I thought that was really cool. The left Joy-Con has something that's very interesting, which is the screen capture button, which is supposed to have video capturing in the future. And for anyone who does Let's Plays with Nintendo videos, I can't wait to see how that plays out, because I did some Splatoon videos. Nothing you do from a Nintendo game can be monetized on YouTube, which is why a lot of people don't tend to do them. So we'll see if they change that up, because that's like their big thing. Even without it being games, when they just show footage in general on YouTube, Nintendo tends to flag people down. So we'll see how that plays out, but they're adding it to their own console. We'll see what the heck happens. The biggest thing after the announcement of the consoles and the price and all that stuff, it comes down to additional controllers. And this is really the only bad news I've heard about the whole thing. So the the Pro controller, I just put con for everything because it was in my head. The professional controller, Pro controller, that is $70 if you want to get one of those. That's insane to me. So that's nuts. The Joy-Con controllers, you do get both of them, but that's $50, and I think that's a lot more reasonable, because admittedly controllers today for like PS4 cost like $40 to $50, which is still nuts to me. But that I think is normal. The regular Joy-Con controllers are $50 for 2. I would assume it's for 2 and not just for one half of the controllers $50. But the Pro controller is $70. Joy-Cons are $50. You can get a combo with a professional or Pro controller and the Joy-Con controllers. That's $80, so that is a $30 saving. That's still almost $100 just for, technically it is 3 controllers. So that's still a boatload of money, but that's really the only bad news I've heard so far. Is that's just a lot of money. But in this case, it's like, yeah, that's if you want something extra. Also, unlike the Wii U, you can at least buy something if your controller breaks. Like the gamepad, they did not actually sell those. You'd have to like buy one off of eBay if yours broke or anything like that. You'd have to buy one off of eBay in order to have, you know, a gamepad controller. So that was like the only thing I was like, okay, at least that's something. You can buy the controllers. It's not, you get one in the box and then they're gone forever if it breaks. You actually can buy them in the store. So I thought that was good. There is a wheel accessory for, you know, Mario Kart style. Very tiny too. It's even smaller than the one for the Wii, so that it looks even weirder. One thing that I really love, to sync the controllers. Now this is coming from someone who plays Smash Brothers a lot with a bunch of other people. It's like I go over there, they come over here. It's always like, alright, we got to sync up the controllers before we play. All you have to do is plug them into the console, just slide them down, slide them back out. The controllers are synced, and I was like, that is great. I love that. Very simple, but I thought it was really cool. Also, 60 frames per second on the actual portable version. You take it off the TV and you're going around playing it, it's still 60 frames per second. So that I loved. At least for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's what they specifically said. But I was like, alright, well if it does it for that, I would assume it does it for all the other games. So, loved what I heard from the console. I thought it was really good. You know, they rattled off quite a few good games, especially during the New York conference. That was basically all about the games that were coming out and showing them off more. A couple that they really showed during the first thing was 1-2 Switch. They showed like a very simple thing. It was like, it's the Wii part of, you know, the Nintendo Switch, where it's like every former Nintendo console has been brought into the Switch. That's the Wii portion. Casual gamers, please come and play the, you know, the 1-2 Switch game. It's a party game. That's definitely what it's for. Seems fine. Bunch of mini games that they showed off at the New York thing, and it seems okay. Hopefully that's just a launch game with it. I would assume it is, just like Wii Sports. It's something you don't need to buy, but it comes with the console, and it's, you know, it's something that you can play with everybody. So I think that's fine. The one that really caught my attention was actually ARMS. I thought that looked really good. I was like, man, that seems like it could be just a really fun game. Considering what I've seen of it, I'm curious of the cost. Like, is that going to ship with the console, which I kind of doubt? Is it going to be a full $60 game? Because based off of what I saw, I just don't think it should be, because it doesn't seem like there's enough there. It looks like a really fun game. There's a lot of different mechanics to it and stuff like that, a lot of good strategy. As you get better with the game, you realize there's more to it. I just don't know if that's a $60 game based off what I've seen so far, but it does look really fun, so I love getting to see that. Splatoon 2, I'm buying that. That's like, I'm gonna, as soon as they say this is exactly when this comes out, that's when I'm getting the Nintendo Switch. So that's in the summer. I'm like, all right, I'll just wait till summer, and then Splatoon 2 is when I'm getting the game, because that looked amazing. I love the first one. That's pretty much it for that. Super Mario Odyssey, that looked interesting. It did make me think of Sonic 06, only because of the fact that Mario in one portion was in the real world. That's the only reason. I'm sure it'll be better than that. It has to be. Legend of Zelda, of course, looked great. We got more info on that, especially at the Treehouse event. They showed off a lot of stuff, so that was really cool. Something that they didn't show at the actual event, which was at the first event that they showed at the New York one, Super Bomberman R. That actually looked pretty fun. That's up to 8 players, so that should be intense. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looked really good. Ultra Street Fighter 2, that's very interesting, and there's some sort of first-person mode in that game. They haven't talked about it, but it looked like it was like Street Fighter 5, but in first-person mode. I don't know what that's supposed to be. They put it at the very end of the trailer. It's the Ultra Street Fighter 2 trailer, so just look that up. It's like a half a second, and it's Ryu shooting a Hadouken at Bison, and that's it. And I'm like, that was first-person 3D Street Fighter, so I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm definitely curious about that. But Ultra Street Fighter 2, so famous they had to bring it back Ultra style. Has Been Heroes is something they showed at the New York event that actually looks pretty good, like it can be a fast-paced game. And then we have a lot of the other games that they showed off, are kind of sped through a little bit and during the initial one. Another one they showed off at the New York event though is Snipper Clips is the game. It's a cool looking puzzle game. Not much to it. It's a cool looking puzzle game. I highly recommend looking it up. I think explaining it would be a disservice to actually how you play it and look at it. But some of the games they kind of rattled off during the original Tokyo event. Xenoblade 2 is coming out. We have a new Fire Emblem Warriors game coming out, which is going to have its own event, its own Treehouse event on the 21st, I believe, something like that. Dragon Quest 9 and 10 and Heroes 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch. I put something by Atlas because I didn't know what the game was until they said it, but the Shin Megami Tensei game, they're making another one of those. Octopath Traveler, which they didn't show too much in that trailer, but just from what I heard, it seems pretty interesting. So that's by Square Enix. Skyrim, of course, is coming. FIFA's coming. I don't care about FIFA. Minecraft, don't really care about that either. Steep, I think that should be cool. I was interested in that game. I just don't have it yet, so I might wait till it's cheaper on the NS. On the NS. And then the one thing that really caught my attention, No More Heroes. I have I don't know, that's probably like 50 exclamation points. No More Heroes is coming out. Suda51 came on and they showed a picture of Travis Touchdown. I've been waiting for No More Heroes 3 since the Wii U got announced. Because I remember he was like, yeah, we probably won't make another No More Heroes after 2 until the next Nintendo system comes out. And as soon as they said the Wii U's coming out, I was like, No More Heroes 3. And it never happened. So something with Travis Touchdown is coming. I do not care if it's a remake or what. I'm super amped up for that. But overall, I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a really good console. Of course, pre-orders are already sold out, so I don't know if they'll do like they did with the NES Classic thing, where it's like, why don't we put out 10? So we'll see how that plays out as far as scalpers on eBay and all that stuff. But I'm waiting till summer anyway, so I don't think I'm really going to have that issue. But I like the console. I like what I've seen so far. I love all the games that I've seen. Visually, of course, everything looks phenomenal. It's all 1080p, 60 frames per second, which is really cool. I don't know if every game is going to be 60 frames per second, but at least Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, if you don't have that yet. So I'm excited for what we're going to get. Of course, would love to know how you guys are feeling about the console. In probably like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be doing another video. I'm going to do a podcast video with my friend and maybe some other friends, and he's like the exact opposite. He's super pessimistic. Like, he's the only person I've seen that's like, I just don't like anything that they've shown. And I was like, man, I don't know how he feels that way. He's like pessimistic of the whole direction that they're going in. And I was like, wow, I'm like total opposite. So in a few weeks, I'll have that talk with him. But like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about the announcement and all the news. Like I said, I will be doing videos for most of the games that were talked about. Definitely ARMS and some of the bigger, the Nintendo titles that are coming out. So look forward to those. But like I said, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this announcement. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts of the news, least favorite things that you've heard about the console so far. When are you guys expecting to get this? Is it launch day? Because we are getting Legend of Zelda on launch day, as well as Bomberman R, for you who might be a huge Bomberman fan. Both of those are launch titles. Are you waiting for summer like me? I just want Splatoon 2. I don't need to play anything else except outside of Splatoon. But we'd love to know when you guys plan on picking this one up and just what you guys think in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.